European deal, didn't he? Because it's better.
Well, yes, he's supported the European deal, and that's fine, but that's not something you can agree with or disagree unless you have some information. Now, what is it that he has said that makes you want to support the European deal also?
Well, look, they offer over £2 million more and over 2 million man-hours work more. Do they not?
There is a slight problem there. On the basis of certain information, yes, but unfortunately that information has been called into question by the Attorney General today in the latest round of the battle, as it were. And I'm talking now about the battle within the government as opposed to the battle between the two companies who were attempting to purchase Westland. The Attorney General says that some of the information that Michael Heseltine has released is wrong. Now the shareholder, no, I'll correct myself, the board of the company, Westland, more than any other group of people in the country, have the full information from both groups applying for their company, as it were. And they, to date, have advised that people follow the American one. Now, surely the board has the right to say what is best for the future of the company.
Yeah, well, I don't know the US side of it.
Well, how can you then, Richard, agree that Michael Heseltine's decision or Michael Heseltine's preference is the correct one if you don't know?
Oh, well, I see this 2 million more and 2 million more man-hours. You know.
But Richard, how can you know it is more unless you know what it's more than? If I say to you, here is 10, how do you know whether that is more than the other offer?
Yeah, well, it says Sikorsky Fiat Consortium.
What says?
The papers and the media.
Well, as I said, the media are hardly a reliable source of information, are they?
Oh, so they're lying, are they?
I didn't say they were lying. I said they are not a reliable source of information. They can only print the information they've been given. Now, the deal offered by the American companies was only finalised early this afternoon. So how they can actually say this is what the deal is in the daily papers strikes me as being, well, at best dubious. They are speculating. It's part of their function to speculate, but that's what they're doing. The only people that have the full information at present are the people who are members of the board. And surely Westland, whether we like it or not, is a private company. They have the right to decide what happens to their company.
Yeah, but they haven't just speculated with figures, have they, really? You can't really say that.
Of course I can. Journalists do it all the time.
Why? I mean...
What do you mean, why? How? Why? These are all silly questions. The reason why is because they've got to fill their papers somehow. The reason how is by guesstimation, as it's becoming called.
Look, you're wrong, Alan. Just admit it.
No. How do SNES?
Nelly the Elf, back to...
SNES, when you get a real name, and when you grow up, should that misfortune ever befall the world, ring us back. Till then, shut up and get off. It's news time. In fact, it's 11 o'clock news time. We go down the electronic pathway to London.
Red Rose Radio. 11 o'clock news, this is Alan King. Defence Secretary Michael Heseltine is fighting back tonight after getting involved in yet another bitter political row over the future of Westland helicopters. He's continuing with his support for the Europeans who want a stake in Westland, even though Mrs Thatcher herself is now thought to be angry with him for refusing to drop out of the crisis. Earlier, Mr Heseltine was rebuked by one of his own colleagues. The government's legal adviser, Solicitor General Sir Patrick Mayhew, accused him of using misleading information in pursuing his stand against an American rescue package. But tonight, Mr Heseltine is unrepentant. He says he has not been misleading and he has nothing to correct. Westland itself is now telling shareholders they should back the American rescue deal because it's the best one and now offers more money and more jobs. One of Mr Heseltine's backers, Tory MP Dr Keith Hampson, says that even if the Americans win, Mr Heseltine can't be sacked for his determined stand. Well, I think it'd be strange because the Cabinet Committee, which she chaired, asked Mr. Heseltine to negotiate with European governments and with European companies and to bring in British Aerospace and GEC. It's a British-led consortium. Having done that remarkably successfully in about 2 weeks, he put it together when we've been discussing it in principle for years, and I really don't see how that warrants him being dismissed.
A major security alert near the home of Lord Whitelaw in London has ended with police bursting into a Chelsea flat and seizing 2 air rifles. Police are still searching for a Malaysian businessman who lives in the flat but was out when they broke in. A 3-month-old baby boy has survived a crash which sent him skidding across 2 lanes of the busy M4 motorway, still inside his carry cot. Steve Eggington reports.
Little Sam Morris was catapulted in his carry cot out of the back window of his mother's car when it hit a crash barrier near the Severn Bridge. Baby Sam bounced 30 yards across 2 lanes of traffic, but when his mother Gillian got to him, she says he was bawling his eyes out but escaped with hardly a scratch. Police say it's a miracle he wasn't killed. His father Stephen, a police officer, is back home in Buckinghamshire with Sam's 4-year-old sister who also escaped injury. Sam's being kept under observation in hospital tonight but is expected to be released tomorrow. Steve Eggington, IRN, Bristol.
A British private eye is denying he knows anything about a plot to assassinate a Seychelles resistance leader shot dead last year in London. Scotland Yard want to question Ian Withers, who's also a security advisor to the Seychelles government. They've already interviewed a young secretary at his office in Brighton as part of their investigation into the murder of Gerard Horreau. Martin Adamson reports.
His secretary, Tracy Cooper, was questioned for 4 days at London's top-security Paddington Green police station. She says her phone was tapped and she was intimidated.
Talking about my mother and saying that I wouldn't be out for my 21st birthday party, saying that my fiancé was with another woman.
From the Seychelles, Mr. Withers says the affair's a disgrace and he's innocent.
It's absolute rubbish.
Scotland Yard say they can't comment. Martin Adamson, IRN, Brighton.
Independent Radio News.
Our young secretary there describing police interview tactics down south. I tell you this because you may well have thought it was yet another interview about rough justice on television.
If you want a 1986 holiday at 1985 prices, you'd better be quick.
With your holiday flying start with National Travel World.
National Travel World have holiday bargains at all of their branches, now all backed by their unique double shore guarantee. So if it's Spain, Portugal, Greece, or just a holiday in this country, then pop into National Travel World today. You'll be amazed at the choice, but delighted with their prices. We're open certain Sundays in January, so check press for details.
With your holiday flying start with National Travel World.
Oh, yes, it is. I'm back with a regular request spot between 12 and 2, playing your kind of music on Saturdays. Don't forget to get your letters in now. That's Sally on Saturday, back with you this Saturday from the 11th.
How many L's in letter?
Allan Beswick.
How do Ian? Oh, by the way, if you want to join us on the phone in, feel free. It's Preston 56 1000. How do Ian? Hello, Ian.
To tell you a joke.
You want to tell me a joke?
I do.
How unfortunate for you. You can't. How do Steve?
Hello, Alan.
Yes?
Can I talk about cruelty to animals?
We shall find out whether you can, but for the time being you may.
Well, I want to talk especially about mice. Can I?
We shall find out.
Well, it annoys me the way many men like you are stick these harmless creatures with superglue to the top roots.
I don't stick mine with superglue. I stick it with flour and water.
Oh. Well, you're cool, aren't you?
If you say, Steve, then I must be.
Yeah, you're
I've always said the opinions of a moron must be regarded very highly.
Yeah, you're a cool, fat, ugly monster, aren't you, Al?
Yes?
Yeah.
Why are you bothering to talk to this cruel, fat, ugly monster, Steve?
Because I feel like...
And then you're a pillock. How do Donna?
You've got style, that...
I know I have. It's kind of you to tell me. Hello, Raymond.
I'd like to talk about stains. The biological stains we get from our bodies. The filthy, unpleasant stains you get from living.
Raymond.
The nasty
Raymond. It may provide you with some gratification, but it merely provides me with acute boredom. You are, at best, a half-wit, and the worst half at that. Go away. Hello, Frank.
Oh, hello.
Yes?
I wonder you can tell me something. You used to work in a hospital, didn't you?
Yes, I've told you something.
What it was, I was in hospital a few months ago for an operation for perforated ulcer. On the way down, right? Hello?
Presumably on the way down to the theatre.
Gastroenterology. I had the papers, I had the dossier, my file on my lap, and the nurse was wheeling me down, and she said, don't look at that, it's not for you to look at. As far as I'm concerned, I had my name on it, so why don't they let you look at your own papers?
Because those papers are confidential. Well, just a moment. I'll answer your question. You don't need to ask any more. I can answer it on the basis of the one you've already given me. The purpose of those documents is for communication between doctors as to their opinion of your state of health.
Yeah.
It is not the purpose of those documents to convey information to you. That is the doctor's responsibility, and the doctor should, if he thinks you are up to taking the information or using the information properly without going scatty, he should give you that information. However, the reason those documents are confidential is quite simple. If they were not confidential, the doctors would not write in them the kind of thing that they don't want you to know, but it is essential for their colleagues to know. The net result of that could be detrimental to your health. In other words, Dr. A thinks thus, but won't write it down because he doesn't want you to know that he thinks that. Now, in your case, that strikes me as being silly, but it's the principle. And the principle of medical documents is they are confidential, even against the patient.
Yeah, see what it is now, I'm taking Merseyside Health Authority to court now over the operation. It's kept me off work for 6 months and I've had bad troubles with it, infection and stuff like that. And even my solicitor can't get even hold of the papers.
Indeed, but if those documents were between solicitors, I assure you the doctor wouldn't be able to get hold of them either. It is the closed ranks of professionalism, and I agree with you that in cases where there has been mistakes possibly made, where there are disputes, those documents should be available.
Yeah.
And I think there should be some impartial body made up of medical people and legal people who have the right to intervene in such cases. But unfortunately there isn't.
Well, what it is, see, now I'm taking Merseyside Health Authority to court. My solicitor has advised me to go and see a doctor outside Merseyside because I'm taking them to court. And that other doctor I have to see has to get my papers.
He doesn't have to get them to see you. It would obviously assist him.
That's what I mean, yeah.
But he doesn't have to get them to see you.
Yeah.
No.
No.
However, if that doctor applies for those papers, it's not etiquette for the doctor that has those papers to refuse them.
Yeah. See, I believe I was told that doctors put things down about, like, your mother, your father, this, that, and they put personal things down about you.
They put family history down. It is actually essential that that family history is there in many cases.
Yeah.
It isn't always, and one of the problems with forms is people believe that if there's a gap you should fill it.
Yeah.
I'm not altogether in agreement with that, but that is the way people think.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Anyway, good luck with your case.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. How do, Anne?
Hello, Alan. I'll get straight to the point. My brother went on a bike ride today. He was attacked by a dog while he was on his bike. He couldn't get the dog away. It was a passing driver who helped him. He was then taken to the house who owned the dog, and they gave him a drink and sorted him out, and she said that she'd ring my mum and tell him. And she told my mum that it was just a couple of tooth marks he had and that he'd be alright and that he was on his way home. No, he come into work to me, and he had flesh actually hanging out of his leg. It was quite bad. So we got into the hospital and everything. Now, when we got home, we rang the police and reported it, as we thought we should do. And it happens that this dog's been reported before. Now, we don't want the dog to be put down because it's a sheepdog and it is a working dog. We don't want any trouble. But they do need warning, you know, we don't want it to happen to anybody else.
And you have a massive problem. You don't want to cause trouble, but you want some action taken.
Put down, we do want trouble. I mean, it's got to be sorted out.
The only way to sort it out within the law is via the courts, and the only options available to the courts are really to have the dog put down.
No, there's no way of prosecuting them without...
Well, let us look at the question you pose. What can the court do other than a positive control of the dog? What can they do?
Well, I don't know whether there was some sort of fine system or...
Well, a fine wouldn't really affect the dog, because I don't want to sound...
Well, they'd have to keep it in then, you know, they'd take a lot more notice, wouldn't they, really?
They may well take a lot more notice, and there is a theory that says a dog is allowed 2 bites.
Yeah.
And it is possible that the court would order that the dog in future be kept under control, be kept on a lead, or even be kept in a confined space fenced in. The court can do all of those things. The problem, Anne, is the reality. Yes, the court are likely to do that, or it's more than possible that the court will do that on the first occasion, but you have then set on the road for the destruction of the dog, and you must be aware of that before you start out. So I don't think your case, or it is a 60-40 chance at a guess, that the dog will not be put down as a result of the attack on your brother. However, you then are down the road of having the dog destroyed, and if, and it's usually the case, if in 12 months' time you know, somebody gets fined, say, 50 quid, and they're told to look after their dog, then for the next week they look after it perfectly. The week after that, they look after it nearly perfectly. A year later, they are as lackadaisical as they've ever been, and the dog goes and bites somebody else, and then it has to be put down. Dogs don't bite people because they're nasty. They bite people because people are nasty.
Yeah.
I'm not saying your brother was.
Well, he was just running around.
Indeed. But it's the way the dog is treated by human beings that eventually causes it to bite other human beings.
Well, we're great dog lovers, you know, I mean, there's dogs in the family, but...
Well, all I'm doing, Anne, is saying to you, yes, take action, you must take action. The next thing might be a baby, and it may not have the physical ability to resist in the way that your brother could. It may be a little child. You may give some 9-year-old kid a complex about dogs for the rest of its life. Well, you won't, but the incident may. So action needs to be taken, but you must be aware that the eventual result of that action could be the death of the dog.
Yeah, see, that's what we thought, because, I mean, my brother, if the stopping car hadn't have helped him, then, it just wouldn't let go of his legs, so he would have been in a lot more trouble.
He could have been in a lot more trouble, and action needs to be taken.
Okay, thank
all right,
you
love.
very much.
Cheers. Don't feel too bad about it. I appreciate it's not the dog's fault, but it's not your brother's fault or the dog's next victim's fault either.
No.
All right.
Okay, thanks
Ta-ra.
so much. Bye.
I'll do, Peter.
Hello, well, I'd like to talk about smoking pot.
About smoking...
Pot.
What is pot?
It's like the drug.
I see.
Well, do you know that with just 2 puffs of that you can catch AIDS?
Goodbye. I'll do, Simon. Simon's gone home. Probably a good place to be at this time of night. Hello, John.
Hello, Alan.
Yep.
There's a snooker club which I go to, and there's this bloke, and he's on the machines a lot. He plays on the machines. And
what machines?
You know, slot machines.
Oh, slot machines, yeah.
You know, not the video game ones, the ones where you win money on.
Well, you don't actually, do you? But the ones where there is the potential to win money.
Yeah, that's right.
Go on.
And I've seen him on them a lot, and he won quite a lot of money. It was 32 quid, something like that. He bountied it all up. And one of the bouncers came up to him, asked him if he was a member, and he wasn't a member. He had been a member before, but he'd forgot to renew it. So they said he couldn't take the money, and they took the money off him. And he wasn't allowed to go off with the money. Do you think that's right?
If he wasn't a member of the club, then it is probably legally correct that he's not allowed to keep the winnings, because legally he's probably not allowed to play those machines unless he's a member. So was it right in a moralistic sense? No, and the bouncers are probably giggling with a pocket full of money themselves. But whether it was legally correct, I would suggest probably yes.
It wasn't the bouncers that took him off, it was the club itself. The club pocketed the money.
Well, indeed, all I can say to that is that if the person wasn't a member, then it's probably within the club's rules.
But he's he puts the money in the machines.
That is his fault.
Well, couldn't he, because, they don't own the machines, the clubs, do they? They just take a percent.
It's irrelevant. It is their club, and they set out the rules. Now, the rules are, I presume, that non-members are not allowed to play gaming machines. That is most often the case in private clubs. If a non-member plays the machine and wins, then that win is invalid. And in actual fact, legally, they should have given him his 10 pence back, or whatever it was he put in to make that win.
There's no signs up, though. They usually have signs saying, only members allowed on the machine.
Indeed, they usually do, but as an ex-member, he could be regarded as supposed to have known the rules. If he'd had never been a member before, he could possibly have argued, well, I didn't know the rules. But as an ex-member, that argument is a little thin.
Well, I think you're a fool.
Well, fine.
And
that it?
You smell.
How can you tell from there?
I've listened to you since about April, and you do smell a bit. You're a bit thick.
Now, I'm a lot thick, but you still haven't explained how you can tell over the telephone. The basic gist of it is, John, that you wanted to come on the radio and make yourself clever.
And I am.
Well, you may think so.
Damn sight more clever than you.
Then why are you ringing me?
To make you a lot of money.
Thank you. That's all I need. How do, Roy?
Hello. Alan.
Yes.
You claim to work in the Citizens Advice Bureau at CAB. CAB, spelled backwards, is the start of the word back. The Beatles released a song entitled Get Back, and also a song entitled The Long and Winding Road. The yellow brick road was both long and winding and was travelled by Dorothy.
And sung about by Elton John.
Allan Beswick, you are Dorothy.
Well, in actual fact, Roy, this may or may not come as a shock to you, but I once played Dorothy in a mini-sketch. So, yes, I suppose I am. I'm sorry?
Impersonating yourself.
If you so desire.
That's it, Alan? That all you got to say?
I can't think of anything else to say other than to agree with you.
Okay. I'm satisfied. Goodbye.
Another satisfied customer. There are a lot of those about, aren't there, really?
Tiles, tiles, tiles at absolutely ridiculous prices. Northern Wall and Floor, the tile centres of the North have done it again. They've just acquired another 80 tonnes, yes, 80 tonnes of ceramic tiles by leading manufacturers. Northern Wall and Floor have got to sell all their stocks, so they're once again almost giving the tiles away. Tiles from only £1, yes, £1 a square yard. You just can't beat an offer so fantastical. So get yourself down now to Northern Wall and Floor for the tile bargain of a lifetime. Northern Wall and Floor, Wally Banks, Blackburn. Telephone 675 648. That's 675 648.
Here's the latest news from John Wilding. First, the bad news. The Ford Motor Company have increased the price of new Fords. But now here's the good news. John Wilding can still offer you new Ford cars at the old prices. An offer as good as this can only last for a short amount of time. So rush over to see the amazing deals John Wilding has to offer you. New Fords at old prices for a limited period only at Fairview Garage, Garstang.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding. John Wilding!
180! It's your chance to win free holidays with Bullseye's Jim Bowen. Red Rose Radio and National Travel World are running the popular show Bullseye for 3 nights. On Tuesday the 14th of January we'll be at the Charter Theatre in Preston. On the 15th we'll be at Whispers in Barrow-in-Furness. And on January the 16th the show will be held at the Old Mill at Wigan Pier. Tickets are just 50 pence with all proceeds to the Heartbeat Appeal. Every Everyone who attends will have the chance of participating in the show, and you could win a fabulous holiday along with other great prizes. National Travel World will provide free transport, so make sure of your seat and buy your ticket now at any branch of National Travel World or at Red Rose Radio reception.
Speaking of winning great prizes, we have a write-in competition on this programme that is linked to It's Your Turn. I'll tell you the question. On Channel 4 Television's Hill Street Blues, which detective bites people? He's my favourite, I'll tell you. Anyway, on Channel 4's Hill Street Blues, which detective bites people? If you know the answer to that, put it on a postcard or in a letter, or indeed on a sealed-down envelope and send it to me. Allan Beswick, Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301, Preston, PR11YE. And the first correct answer out of the hat, or the bag, depending on how many we get, on Saturday morning will win the top 3 LPs of that day. You'll also get a free go at the jackpot on It's Your Turn when you could go on to win at the end of January a weekend for 2. That's you win it at the end of January. You go more or less when you feel like in the spring. A weekend for 2 in Paris when you travel from Manchester with Airlink Express. That's the question. On Channel 4 TV's Hill Street Blues, which detective bites people? The prize is a top 3 LPs and a free go at the jackpot. You've got to win the jackpot to get it, of course, but you do get a free go at it. But the top 3 LPs you get anyway. How do, Clive?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about long, boring mathematical equations.
I'm sure you would, and when you stop talking down your nose, you'll be able to.
Yes.
Why do you talk down your nose?
It's a sort of a family thing.
A family thing, is it? Well, change families. You sound like a prat. How do, Trevor?
I've just gone to the toilet, Alan.
Good. Have one for me. How do, Peter?
Hello, Alan. Evening to you.
Evening, yes.
I was talking to you on Friday about elocution lessons. And you recommended that I got in touch, had a look in the yellow pages. You there, Alan?
Yes, you've already had your first lesson, Peter, because on Friday you said the yellow pages. Now you've...
I'm sorry,
you've
yellow.
Got it, yellow. No, I'm saying you've got it right this time. Well done.
Well, I got a hold of a lady in Southport.
Did you not mind? I might get hold of one of them myself on Saturday. I'm going to Southport to open a video shop. However, go on.
She's tasty. I've had my first lesson.
And what does she say?
Listen to this, right? And tell me what you think.
Okay.
You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Hello, Allan Beswick of Red Rose Radio. I am pleased to talk with you. How's that, Al?
It's all right, but it's grammatically incorrect.
Is it?
Yeah, you speak with people.
Speak? I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But it sounds good, doesn't it?
Well, it sounds reasonably good, yes.
Can I give you a weekly report on my progress?
You can try. All right. Hey, I used to like you when your brain was still in, you know.
God bless you, Alan.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
Peter. Hello, Roy.
Hello, Alan. Alan?
Yes, yes.
Well, can you tell by my accent where I come from?
No.
Well, I'm born in Liverpool, guys. And,
you can't win them all, kid. Somebody's got to be born there.
Anyway, I've lived down in Wigan for 14 years, and when I was in school, all my mates called me a Scouser, right? But
yes.
When I go to Liverpool to visit all my relatives and all that...
They call you a woollyback.
Yeah, they call me a woollyback.
That's what you've got for being a crossover, you see. I know the feeling well.
So, what do I do?
You don't do anything.
What do I explain? How do I talk? Like, do I change my accent when I come down to Wigan? Do I talk?
Well, I think you should just carry on as you are and make do with the fact that you've got 2 identities.
Well, have you ever had that problem, Alan?
Yes, lots.
Lots of time?
Yes.
Like, if I come down Wigan, I can start talking dead slow like Wigan do.
No, when I was in Liverpool, I was a woollyback, and up here I'm occasionally regarded as a Scouser because just a little bit of the old Scouse twang comes out every now and then.
Alan?
Yes?
You know, last Friday?
Yeah.
Well, I rang you up, right, talking about all the rich people. Well, I've changed my mind. I think you were right.
Well, that's very good of you, thank you. I've not a clue what he's on about, but never mind. If he thinks I'm right, he's on the right move. Hello, Keith.
Hello, Alan. I need a bit of advice, mate. Now, I have a little bit of a problem. It's sort of like, my mum's been recently put in hospital, yeah? And it's more like a domestic dispute, if you like. And,
well, Keith, you don't go in hospital as a result of a domestic dispute. You'll have to be rather more specific than that.
Well, my father beat up my mum, right?
Right.
And Well, I want to know where I stand on a particular matter. You see, my father was made redundant from a certain particular company on the 14th of November, and he had £600 redundancy pay and also some savings, and it added up to just over £1,000, and he left me mum with nothing. Right now, because of a few certain things, he went back and he started laying into me mum. Yeah. So I got a telephone call saying that she was in hospital. Now, I also got a message stating that he is out looking for me for some reason or another. Yeah. Now, I want to know where I stand. Do I take legal proceedings because he is threatening me, or do I leave it for me mum to take legal proceedings as far as her being assaulted, or what do I do? Because I've just come to a dead end.
You're still at a dead end and will be at the end of this conversation, Keith, and I'll tell you for why. Let's deal with the last question first. It's always easiest. Does your mum take legal proceedings against your father for his physical assault upon her? The answer to that is yes, she can. Whether she would be successful or not is, at best, debatable. The courts are not keen on getting involved in such disputes. The problem, always, is whether there are witnesses.
Yeah.
Now, were there witnesses to the assault?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Now, that's the difficulty, isn't it? Because your mother could go to court and say, my ex-husband or my current estranged husband or my live-in husband beat me up. It's a common law husband, fine. That really isn't important. But she can say, this man beat me up. And this man can say, no, I didn't. Where do you go from there? The court cannot convict him of assault without sufficient evidence. And the say-so of the victim is frequently not regarded as sufficient evidence, and rather more frequently in cases of domestic disputes. Courts are very masculine in their view, and often, and to my horror, but often courts take the view that a man has the right to beat up his wife, which obviously stinks, but courts do take that view.
Yeah.
So she would have difficulty in bringing her case successfully.
Right.
Now, for you to take action, if you like protective action, would mean you would have to get a court injunction forbidding your father from molesting you. And that isn't a sexual reference, that is a physical reference, from molesting or harassing you. Before the court would be prepared to give such an injunction, it would need to be convinced that such an injunction was necessary. In other words, you would have to provide fairly strong evidence to the fact that he is about to molest you.
Yeah. Also, because it is a common law husband and wife dispute, yeah, do I have the right to intervene between those two and say, oi, enough is enough, just lay off her?
The answer to the question, do you have the right, is virtually impossible to give. You have the right, as an individual, a citizen of this country, to intervene in anybody's dispute, providing one of those parties is in agreement with you doing so. Whether you would be welcome is for others to decide, not me. But yes, you can intervene. In the case of a family matter, you can stick your nose in where you like. But if your nose gets put out of joint as a result, then perhaps you only have yourself to blame.
And the last question for you is, if my father came and knocked on my door tonight, say, and started pushing me around, and I hit him, and I was the first one to lay a punch on him, could he have me up for assault?
That's a very difficult one as well. There are no specific answers, or no answers to such specific questions that you can rely upon. If, at the time of striking the man, you had good reason to believe you were at risk, it could be accepted as an argument that you acted in self-defence.
Right.
Even if, in terms of blows, you struck the first blow. But if a person is pushing you, calling your name, say they're going to do you over, and you have the reason to believe them and you hit them, then it could be argued that you responded in self-defence. There are then two other issues that the court would have to look at, and, well, there are then two issues. First, was your reaction reasonable? Was it what a reasonable man would have done? And was the degree of reaction, in other words, the amount of force you then used, was that reasonable? All very, very grey. They're those kind of things that no one can actually advise you on and say this is a positive course of action. The only advice I can give you, in the circumstances you've just outlined, is to take your time and avoid violence at all costs.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right.
Anyway, I'll send you a giant Mars bar.
Right then. Cheers. Taraki.
Yeah, ta-ra, mate.
That's a fee for the job. I'm not sure that's legal. How do, Peter?
Hello, it's Captain Scarlet here. I've just got back from Lima where I've been saving the world from the Great Green Slime Monster. And what do I find? I've been missed after New Year's on this list again. I mean, it's enough to me. You vomit, it really is. It's absolutely disgraceful. Next time the Martians are threatening Downing Street, I'm just going to sit back and laugh at them. I mean, it's absolutely terrible.
All I can say is if you do that, Peter, you'll be doing the whole world a favour. She's actually hated in France. There's a record, I don't know if you saw it on the news. There's a record at the top of the French hit parade which basically says that Maggie is a dragon.
Yeah, all right.
Hope I can.
The Mr. Ons are behind.
The Mr. On's great. Yeah, and I bet you've just turned green. Peter, thank you very much.
Okay.
The Mr. On. Whatever happened to the Mr. Ons? That's what I want to know. Somebody called Hapter.
Oh, my name's Mansour.
Mansour?
Yeah, it's my second name's Akhtar.
Okay, I'll do Mansour.
I'd like to talk about cricket, if I may.
I don't know a lot, but go on.
Well, I thought you liked cricket, Al.
I like it. I don't know how to bat
Yeah,
it.
well, I play for a junior team in Flixton. And don't you think I should, well, the government, or the sports committee, or whatever it is, should they give more money to encourage more cricket or other sports in general?
I'm not sure, because all the teams that stuff us don't get any help from the government at all. The West Indies, they're always stuffing us. They get no government help. India, they're always stuffing us.
I mean financial help.
Yes, I know. They don't either. The Indian team doesn't get any realistic government help, nor does the West Indian.
Yeah, well...
I don't honestly think that the government should spend a great deal of money on sport. I really don't. If we want sport to be organised, and if we want to go out and win World Cups and the like, then all right, I suppose we're going to need top quality training. But we've managed this far without a great deal of brass. And quite honestly, I think we can manage still further.
Yeah, well,
I managed to play cricket as a kid. Okay, I don't know a lot about it now, and I'm never going to be world class. But anyone in our street that had been good enough would have got there.
Yeah, well, the club that I go to, you know, the kit's not very good, and the pads don't really protect you from the nets which you're playing. It's not
But,
really...
but Mansour, when I played rugby in Ormskirk, and I bought my own boots, my own undergarments, my own shorts, my own jersey. I paid fees to play on the grass. I paid fees to keep the bar going and to keep the fire going and the bath going and all that. Now, okay, I could have played rugby in another way. I could have played rugby in the back street, as I did as a kid. I don't think we need to organise sport as much as some would have us do it.
Well, I pay fees as well. It's got paid £3.95 each season, and that's to help get kit.
£3.95 a season?
Yeah, that's just for the...
That's £395, is it?
£3.95.
£3.95. It's hardly a lot of money, is it?
And then it's £2.95 for playing on the grass surface. Now,
Mansour, the answer to your question, from my opinion, is very straightforward, and that is that I think the government has got better things to do with its money at the moment than to spend it on sport. If we were overflowing with milk and honey and money, as we ought to be, with all that North Sea oil, then fine. But whilst the government is in the dire straits that it's in financially at the moment, I think sport should be way down on the list.
Well, I think sports, they don't need much money. You know, a little bit of money would help us much more.
But if you give a little bit of money to sport and a little bit of money to the arts, another hanger on, and a little bit of money here and a little bit of money there, you end up giving a lot of money. And quite honestly, we haven't got it.
Right. Well, you should come down and see the conditions, you know, where we have to change. It's really...
Well, fine. Manta, it wouldn't make any difference. I do know that a lot of cricket teams and a lot of football teams and a lot of rugby teams have appalling facilities. So be it. It's for them that get the pleasure of the sport to change those facilities.
Okay, thank very much, Al.
It's all right.
Happy New Year.
And you. How do, Jason?
Hello, Alan?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd just like to say what a waste of time I think the church is. I think they spend a lot of money on the church, which could be better spent elsewhere. What do you feel about that?
A number of things. Which church do you have in mind?
What, any church, really?
All religions. Do you mean all religions?
Yes.
So you mean the word church, in this instance, means religion?
Yes.
Okay. Now, talking about the money spent on religion, who spends it?
Well, the church involved.
Well, the church doesn't spend it. It must get that money from somewhere, so someone must spend it for the church to get it.
Do you think it's right the church should spend all this money?
Well, let us just first of all establish where the church gets its money from.
Well, from the people.
It gets it from the people. Now, when did you last... Just a moment. When did you last see a vicar or a rabbi or a priest stand one of his parishioners up against the wall with a revolver and take all his money off him?
Well, never.
Never. So, well, just a moment. What we have to consider is whose money is it and how did they get it? Now, the money was given to the church voluntarily. The members of that church gave that money voluntarily in the knowledge of what the church would do with it. So, why complain? They gave the money voluntarily.
Shouldn't the money be spent on a more charitable cause?
That is for the... Well, we've gotten the pip. That is for the church to decide. It's their money given to them by their parishioners. If their parishioners object, then their parishioners should tell the church, are you a member of a religion?
No, I'm not.
Then you have no right. Well, you have the right, but you have the right to beef, but you have no right to expect the church to listen to you. If you wish to change the rules and the way a church spends the money it gets from its parishioners, then perhaps you ought to become one of its parishioners. Do I tell you, or does the church tell you how to spend your wages, or your dole if you're on the dole, or your pocket money?
Red Rose Radio.
Now that you've spent pounds on everyone else, why not treat yourself to a new TV, hi-fi or video from Goodrights of Preston and Southport? We've been saving our best offers of the season for our unrepeatable sale, starting December the 27th for a limited period only. So whether it's good sounds you're after or a microwave, it must be Goodrights for a good deal at the right price. 1 Friargate, Preston and Lord Street close to Debenhams, Southport.
This is a special announcement for all small business owners in Lancashire who don't realise the implications of the new VAT rules. If you're not fully aware of the new legislation, you could become liable for some unexpected and severe penalty payments. It's for this reason that one of the country's most respected chartered accountants, Deloitte, in association with Red Rose Radio, will hold a seminar on value-added tax on Wednesday, February the 5th at 7:30 p.m. The venue is the Novotel, just off Junction 29 on the M6 motorway at Walton Summit, Preston. The seminar will deal with all the new penalties and will demonstrate ways in which the planning and structuring of transactions can result in the improvement of cash flow. We'll also answer any questions you may have regarding VAT. If you'd like to attend this very important evening, write to Carol Jemson at Red Rose Radio. The address is St Paul's Square, Preston, PR1 1YE, enclosing a cheque for £5.75. You'll then receive a fact sheet, programme and an invitation. And you can, of course, call in to Red Rose Radio reception. Make sure your company isn't penalised by the new rules.
I've only got one question about VAT, and that is, why are them gangsters allowed in your house without a warrant when the police aren't? Strikes me as a bit iffy. What can you expect from tax collectors? They don't make the rules, they only use them. I'll do, Alexander.
Hello, Alan.
Yeah.
It's absolutely terrible about all these IRA bombings that have been going on. These IRA bombings.
Yeah?
I think it's terrible about them. How they're
Well, you're right. Of course it's terrible.
about how they're blowing up innocent citizens that haven't done anything to them.
Well, I agree with you. Not much more we can say about that, is there?
No, thank you.
Okay. Ta-ra. I don't know anyone that says it's a good idea other than the disgusting IRA and other terrorists. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, what do you reckon about the plastic pitch press in North End?
Kevin, I don't answer questions to start conversations. You presumably have an opinion. Let's hear it.
Well, I was just wondering about all this money, what they're going to spend on a plastic pitch, why won't they buy some new players with it? The line at the bottom of the 4th division.
Red Rose Radio 97.3 Stereo.
Buy any new kitchen from Belle Cuisine within the next few weeks and this fabulous package could be yours absolutely free of charge. Isn't that right, Double Oven?
Yes, that's right. You get me free and I'm worth over £400. Not only that, but you get my best friend Gas Hob free as well.
And I'm worth over £150.
And when we all get working, you need our friend the Extractor Hood.
Yes, I'm in the package too. I'm worth over £100 and you get me absolutely free. Yippee! And on top of all these free appliances, Belle Cuisine will fit your kitchen furniture completely free of charge. This incredible package is only available from Belle Cuisine, Lancashire's #1 kitchen company. And what's more, apart from your deposit, you pay nothing until May 1986. For full details, call into your nearest Belle Cuisine showroom today or call Cleveland's 864141.
Here's the latest news from John Wilding. First, the bad news. The Ford Motor Company have increased the price of new Fords. But now here's the good news. John Wilding can still offer you new Ford cars at the old prices. An offer as good as this can only last for a short amount of time. So rush over to see the amazing deals John Wilding has to offer you. New Fords at old prices for a limited period only at Fairview Garage, Garstang.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding. John Wilding!
How do Sue?
Hi, I'm Sue from the Oldroom.
From where?
Oldroom.
Oh, the Old Roan.
Yeah.
Very good. We don't normally allow people to tell us where they're from, but go on.
I'm just thinking about a lad that rung up on Friday. I think his name was Jeff or something. He was rang about, the dogs that were drugged, like, you reckon that they were drugged to to sniff them out, like,
Oh, I see, yes.
Do you remember it?
The sniffer dogs that the police used to locate drugs, he said that the only way they could get them to do that was by giving them drugs first of all.
Yeah.
I
totally agree with him, really. Because, like, when they went for the case, like, wouldn't let go of it or anything. So, I agree with him. So, what other way would maybe do it, like?